The purpose of these videos is to orient you to what components look like and how to act on them. If you haven't yet viewed the Watch Me First video, please do that first, as it lets you know what to expect. As you read in Chapter 5, nodes can be used for many purposes, but they're commonly used to represent named concepts or units that are meaningful in relation to the research objectives. This video is in two parts. First, we look at the 5 different types of nodes, where they are stored, and some of the ways they can be created. In Part 2, we discuss and illustrate some of the actions that can be taken on nodes. You can see in the Nodes navigation area that there are 5 folders for storing different types of node. The folders available depend on the edition of NVivo 11 you're working with. I'm currently showing NVivo Plus, so you might have different node folders from those displayed here. Check out the QSR website for up-to-date information about what's available in each NVivo edition. You'll know from Chapter 5 that we think about cases as a separate component, so please look at that section in the book and the separate video on cases for more information. The Node Matrices folder is a special place where you can choose to save the query results of matrix coding queries, so we look at that in the video on query results. Folders store the different types of node, and as you can see here, the list view provides information about them. I'm currently in the Nodes folder. These nodes are organised in hierarchies. The top level nodes NVivo calls parent nodes, and underneath, as I'm showing, for attitude, economy, natural environment, and sense of community, we can have subcodes hanging. NVivo calls these child nodes. You can also see that we can have several levels of node. In the list view, I've currently got the description displayed, showing any definition that has been applied to these nodes. In addition is the column for colour, aggregation, and the number of sources and references currently coded to these nodes. If you want to vary the columns that are available in the list view, this can be done in the View menu by choosing to customise the list view, and then I can choose to add and remove columns and move them up and down as I choose, and that will change the order in which the columns appear. We've currently got the memo links column on view. There's only one memo link at the moment, and this is showing us that the balance node has been linked to the balance versus mixed feeling memo, and if I want to access that, then I can do so from the right-hand menu. The columns for references and sources are showing us the current status of coding. So, for example, at the negative node, there are currently 499 references coded at this node within 14 separate sources. You'll also see that some of the parent nodes, for example, economy, have been aggregated. I can see that by the aggregation icon. Aggregation is optional. I can choose to aggregate a top-level node on the right-hand menu, and you can see that that's currently ticked for economy, and aggregation gathers up the coding at the next level down in order that I can think about the top-level parent node as a general theme, as well as looking at and thinking about each node underneath as a separate dimension of that theme. There are various ways of creating nodes. We can create them manually, either up front or from a position in the data. To create a node up front, we can do that in the list view. I'm going to do that by right-clicking and just create a new node. I can give that a name, add an optional description, change the colour here, and that node appears in my list. If I want to add description later on, then I can just right-click and go to the properties and change any of those properties whenever I need to. I can also create a node at a position in the data. I've currently got an interview transcript open, and I can select the reference that I'm interested in to generate a code from this position just by right-clicking and choosing the New Node option, naming it and clicking OK, and you'll see that the new node appears in the nodes list and has been coded. I can't see that node appearing in the margin area unless I ask for the coding stripes, so I'll just do that and you'll see that that node has appeared in the margin. The same is possible from any type of source, a PDF file, a video file, an image file, etc. But I've just shown it to you in an interview transcript. We discuss coding stripes in more detail in the Coded References video. We can also create nodes as a result of autocoding sources. That can happen in various different ways. Here I've got a selection of interview transcripts highlighted in the sources area, and when I right-click I can choose the autocode option, and I can autocode on various different bases. Identifying themes and sentiment are available in the Plus edition of NVivo and will automatically analyse textual transcripts to identify common themes or sentiment. We'll talk about sentiment nodes shortly, and we'll talk about style and structure when we get on to talking about cases. In addition, we can generate codes out of creating queries. That can happen in various ways. The results of a text search or word frequency query, for example, can be saved at nodes, and the results of other queries can also be saved at nodes. We discuss some of these options in the video on query results. Sentiment nodes are created automatically by NVivo if you choose to identify sentiment from the autocode wizard. NVivo will then analyse the sources you specify for emotional tone, and then create these nodes for you. The autocoding routine also displays two different visualizations. First of all, you get a matrix showing sources as rows and the different sentiment nodes as columns, and you also get a visualization showing the proportion of each sentiment node per source. Because you don't have the ability to specify to NVivo which words and phrases should be captured at each sentiment node, you'll have to look carefully at the coded references that result from identifying sentiment in this way. And you can see here that these sentiment nodes, once they've been created, are just like any other node, so I can select, right-click, and choose to change the sentiment as I see fit, and indeed to take other actions on these coded references. Relationship nodes are a special type of node that allow you to link other components together. In this project, most relationships have been created between cases, although there are two here that link nodes together. If I start off the process of creating a relationship node, you can see the components that can be linked in this way. Notice that not all components can be linked by using relationship nodes. For example, we can't link maps, framework matrices, or query results using relationships. We can, however, choose the relationship type to link our chosen components. In this project, several relationship types have been created previously, and we can choose one from the list. New relationship types can be created in the classifications area of NVivo. The important thing to remember about relationships is that they're not just a way of linking components, they're also nodes themselves. This means that we can choose to code data at them, for example to capture the evidence that substantiates the relationship we've made. We can see that these relationships have got some data coded at them, by looking at the sources and references column, and if I open one up, you'll see that it looks just like any other node and indeed can be acted upon in similar ways to other nodes.